how to present cash offers to your motivated sellers and exactly what to say. What's up guys, Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we're going to give you a $5,000 real estate course on exactly what to tell your sellers and exactly how to present, explain a cash offer, and exactly how to give the best cash offers so you can make the most money in real estate wholesaling. We're going to tell you exactly what to say so you can have the best success possible. The truth is you're overcomplicating the way you're presenting your cash offers to sellers. So without further ado, before we get into it, do us a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break it down.
I guess rule number one is you can't force it. And guys, I see this a lot in real estate. We're not like these slick used car salesmen trying to shove stuff down people's mouth. Either the shoe fits or it doesn't. If someone's got a property that is just in terrible shape, they have to get rid of it. There's really no other option. And a cash offer is really the best solution for your sellers. Remember, it's not always what's the best solution for me or you. It's what's best for your seller. Then that's where a really good cash offer should be utilized. And it's important to understand it fits your seller's needs.
I mean, really, when it comes to doing a cash offer, the biggest fight of it is not even the cash offer. It's the qualification up to the cash offer. I'm not here to sell my cash offer or sell the service that we have if the person's not the right fit. And a lot of people ask us, Zach, how do you have such a big success rate when you present a cash offer and you get the deal? Because I'm presenting it to the right people. I know exactly how to get in front of the right people that say yes and don't give cash offers to the person that says no. And it all boils down to one thing, and that is motivation. And there's a lot of tips and tricks I can give to you to see if your seller is actually motivated for a cash sale. I think one I always do on my live cold calling sessions I have here on the channel is if someone, I don't know if they're too serious about selling their house, I'll just say, hey, Mr. Seller, can I swing by Friday to look at the house? If the seller's legitimately motivated to sell, they say, yes, come by, please buy it. They're sort of just trying to get a price out of you. They don't really want to sell. They're gonna be like, no, you can give me an offer right now. They really don't want to sell the property. And I think that's one little trick I think you should have before I get into the script. You honestly just need to do these little things to see if your seller's really motivated. And there's a lot of other little things too, but really you got to see if the seller's motivated enough before you can even give that offer.
Yeah, and by qualifying, you're doing like little trial closes, because cash offers, here's one of the big secrets is a lot of it is the timing. Like when I first started out wholesaling is we just hit everybody with a cash offer in the first 5 minutes. What's the least amount it take if I offer you all cash and close quickly? As time progressed and we learned how to qualify people. And once you qualify it, then you can cater your offer. And by catering your offer, by doing the qualifying questions, which is your trial closes added to it, you can perfect the timing. When the perfect opportunity meets a well-prepared investor and the timing's perfect, your cash offers seem like the perfect fit. And that's where the win-win comes in on the cash offers.
So again, how do you really know if your seller is going to be motivated or not? When I'm talking to a seller, before I even give a cash offer, if they just want to sell their house, we always ask the same 4 questions. This is motivation, condition, time frame, price. Motivation. Hey, Mr. Seller, why are you looking to sell the property? Condition, can you tell me a little about the property, the roof, AC, any repairs that needs to be done? Time frame, when are they actually looking to sell the property? A month, a week, a day, a year? You really got to know that. And then lastly, price, how much they need to sell the property for. If they can give you decent answers to all that and there's enough of a motivation, you can go further, go on an appointment, maybe do the phone appointment if you're doing virtual wholesaling, and then boom, you get into the cash offer.
Yeah, so the key is here is you really got to listen carefully to the words your sellers use, because these are the clues you're going to use for the qualifications. So we talk about the difference between wanting to sell and needing to sell. Wanting is listing with a realtor. Needing is, I got to get this done. And that's what we focus on wholesaling, particularly on your cash offers. Guys, use your ears and make sure you listen to your sellers carefully.
This brings us back to the next part, which we've been saying a little bit, but too many wholesalers are just forcing sales to people, and it drives me literally insane. Think about this for a second. This is why we qualify. This is the importance of qualifying. If you sell peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you should ask the person, number one, hey, are you allergic to peanut butter? If they say yes, I don't care how good of a sales closer, Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street type person you are. I don't care your Grant Cardone. You ain't gonna sell that peanut butter to that person, right? And that's the most important. This is why we ask questions. I don't ask questions because I think it's a cool little guru sales tactic. It's because if you don't ask this question, you're going to be selling peanut butter to a person that is deathly allergic to peanut butter, and you're never going to get the sale, and you're going to think you're terrible. I'd rather talk to 10 people that are obsessed with peanut butter trying to sell the peanut butter to them than people that are not as interested in it. Remember, guys, we're not salesmen more or less when it comes to just giving the cash offer. It's just natural. It's really simple, our approach.
And guys, remember, your questions are kind of like your guided tour to qualifying your sellers. The modern day approach for any sales is gather as much information you can while having a polite conversation that's entertaining. And if you can accomplish all those, it will lead you to the best solution for your sellers. And in this case, when it comes up, you'll know when a cash offer is perfect. You just got to match the timing for it.
That's the honest goal here. So make it really simple. So let's talk to a seller. Let's do a role play, Hey, Mr. Seller, how are you? And they're going to ask, hey, what do you want? Like all this stuff. Just explain, hey, I'm looking to buy a property cash. And that should be your approach and your arc for the entire conversation. So no, you don't have to have this crazy sales script. So if you go and have this conversation with your seller, not off a teleprompter, not off a sheet, because guess what happens when you're in person with somebody? You're not going to have that sheet of paper with you and you're going to get screwed. You sort of have to ad-lib it, kind of do some improv more or less. But really, if you talk a conversation naturally like you talk to other human beings with the arc of, hey, I'm looking to buy your property. What do you do if you want to buy someone's property? You're going to ask them about the house, right? You're going to ask them when I can go see the house, because obviously you got to look at something before you buy it, right? If you just have that general flow, you don't need to be an expert. I mean, most people right here, most wholesalers watching this, they've bought a car, right? Do you have to have a script when you're buying a car? No, hey, what's the color of it, right? Well, what's the model? What's the year? Can I test drive it? Really simple, guys.
It's imperative that you guys take your scripts. And listen, I started with scripts. I don't have a problem. I look at scripts more as like bullet points. So we teach you the 4 qualifying questions. Maybe your sellers will they're not always going to go in that perfect order. So if you understand the 4 bullet points, you can put it in a conversation. The problem with a script is it's sequential and you can't get it out of order. So you ever have that salesman that calls you, you ask him something out of the blue, no, I got to stick to my script. I got to keep going here.
Yeah.
The minute I hear that, I know they're not listening to me. They know they're not paying attention. Your sellers know if you're being authentic or fake. So guys, the goal is take your scripts, use them for practice, and convert them into conversations. If you know the 4 questions to ask, it really doesn't matter the order you ask them. The importance is you ask the question, and most importantly, you come across as authentic to your sellers. Don't be something that you're not. This fake it till you make it has been proven. It doesn't work. Just work hard till you get the results that you desire, and then just keep working on them.
So let's get in the script. Let's get into exactly what to tell your seller. And I can bet you guys, there's one thing you have to do before you give the cash offer, before we can give you the keys to the kingdom on giving the cash offer. And this is conditioning your seller. If you do not condition your seller, when you give this cash offer, you're going to get the worst possible outcome when you present a cash offer to a seller. There's 3 things a seller can tell you when you present a cash offer. Either number 1, yes, I accept that offer. Number 2, no, which those are what you want. The third and worst one is maybe. You do not want a maybe.
You do not want to be in the maybe zone, because that's the one that will cause you the most fatigue, the most energy, and honestly, you'll spend more time trying to get out of the maybe zone when you're better off just setting up an upfront agreement. So when you get to the end of a conversation, you can leverage your seller, because remember, you're there to help solve a problem, but you got to leverage them to give you an outcome of yes or no. And by the way, if you get a no, it's not a bad thing. It's actually finality, and you move on. Maybe it can mean so many things that it's hard to move forward with it. So guys, get that upfront agreement. It makes a tremendous difference in your end results in wholesaling.
Remember, guys, time kills all deals, and a maybe is going to extend the time frame of that. So when you talk to a seller, when you're talking on the phone, hey, I want to buy your property, and you're getting to the point where you're doing that virtual appointment over virtual wholesaling, or you're actually doing the in-person, say this. Hey, Mr. Seller, I would like to go see the property. What time works for you? Let's say Thursday. Does that work? Yes, Thursday work. Well, before we actually meet you at the property, I do have to ask you one thing. Do a quick ground rules. Yeah, what is that? I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I want to go by the property. Me and my partner, we usually make a decision on the spot there. So to not waste your time or my time, I'm going to need a yes or no decision when I go meet you at the property. Are you willing to make a yes or no decision on selling when I go there on Tuesday?
It's just important to keep your mouth shut and let them draw out the answer, because you want their true intentions. Because once they commit to it, if they don't follow through, they're actually lying to themselves, and you were there to kind of call their bluff. So this is an important process. So many times we want to fill that voided, like that dead space. I've seen a minute and sometimes a minute and a half go by this. It's important you don't talk. It's awkward, but it will help you out with your end result.
Hands down. So now you're at the property, right? They said they're ready to make a decision right now. You're good to go. So what are the cash offers? So you're walking to the house, you're looking at, you're building rapport, right? You're using the Ford method, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You're speaking with confidence to the seller. You're making some jokes. You're just asking questions about the property, generally interested in why they're looking to sell and help them out getting rid of the property for cash. Now comes the most stressful part, right? The cash offer. And there's a lot of things you have to avoid in giving the cash offer. First off, when you go to the property, do not walk in with a briefcase with contracts and pens. It's just going to distract the seller, right? Walk in there, just you, right? That's all you need. And when you're talking to the seller, basically at the end of it, hey, can we talk about this property? And then either you sit down, you mirror the seller, and you get down to business. And there's pretty much starting out 3 cash offers you can basically give. This is the low ball, the get their price first method, or the good cop, bad cop method. These are the top 3 ones you should be doing. And honestly, the best one for every beginner is just having the seller give the price first.
A lot of times when I first started out wholesaling is I spent so much time building rapport, it got awkward to transition over to the negotiation. What I found useful is if you have like a catchphrase to transition, say, "This seller, I can talk to you all day about your family. They're wonderful. I love this." He goes, "But you remember we talked about getting a decision from you so I can help you out. Do you mind if we move forward with that process?" Just stop and give your little speech and let them know you're transitioning. Otherwise, if you're a friendly guy like me and you keep talking forever, you're actually going to discredit yourself.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get down to business. Find that transition, whatever phrases are comfortable. That's what I used to say in the beginning. But you got to have like that start stop point and move on from there. Otherwise, you will not get to the final numbers. So at this point, you're at the price. So you should have all the information. You have an educated like ballpark. You've done all your numbers. So this is where the rubber hits the pavement. You got to get a price. So the first thing I want to do is try to induce a number out of your seller. Now, you have to have the mentality and understanding whatever number they give you, that is not going to be the end number. That's typically where people start. All negotiations start here and they'll end here. And so if you wind up over here, it leaves you no room. You're basically going to have to induce from the seller. So I'm going to use simple words, and I don't want to draw attention to negative words that are associated with it. So I'm not going to use the word contract. I don't use the word ask price because that is realtor world. I'm simply say, "Mr. Seller, what do you need to get out of this property to move on?" Simple as that. Be quiet and wait for a response. Now, 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either they're going to spit you out a price, which is great. And I look at that as a starting point, never the ending point. Or number 2, they're going to be like, "I have no idea. You came here. You make me a cash offer. You tell me what you can offer." At this point, simply invoke the volley method. It's very, very simple. Studies show that if you overcome 2 objections from anybody, they'll want to answer you. So it's easy just to turn someone down, but if you keep going back at them, they eventually will give you an answer. So, "Mr. Seller, I know you don't know the exact prices, but if you had to figure what you need to get out of it, what would that number be?" And shut up. Now, they could come back at you again. Remember, the easiest way to overcome resistance is persistence, but you got to be nice about it. So you're simply going to repeat the question back to them, put a little bit of a spin on it, and put the ball back in their court. "Mr. Seller, listen, I know you don't know exactly, but listen, if you could ballpark of what you need to get out of this, what do you be? I'm giving you full permission to just throw it out there." By then, they're either going to answer you or they're going to get really annoyed with you. Either way, you're making progress. Remember, the idea is to get an end result here. And remember, whatever your number gets, that's just where we're starting at when we're working with. Now, forewarning, every now and then you'll get someone that just gives you a number and like they honestly, that's it. And that's their bottom line and they move on. But that's the exception, not the rule. Always look at the first number as a starting one. Use the volley method because it will get you end results. Because if they keep coming back to you and go, "No, you give me an offer," you have to pivot, re-ask the question and volley it twice. After 2 times, you typically overcome them and they will spit you out a number. It allows you to make progress. Sometimes it works out well. Sometimes it's tough, but the challenge is to work through the negotiations and get to an end result. Remember, the goal is to help the seller out and create a win-win situation.
So next one is the low ball. That's my second favorite one. And the low ball's our least favorite one because there's just better methods out there. Getting the price first is obviously the best. Doing the volley should be fine, but sometimes you just got to do the low ball, right? And
correct.
My personal opinion is if you say a low ball the right way, you're going to be fine. So there's 2 types of low balls. There's the comic low ball and there's the legit cash offer low ball. I like the comically low ball to a point. I call this the $1 method. So if I'm talking to a seller and I want to low ball them, they won't give me a price. And you got to do this with a laugh. "Hey, Mr. Seller, I mean, you said you don't know how much you want to sell the property for. I mean, would you be okay if I bought this property for $1? And do you see the tonality I just said there? It was kind of a joke, but a half serious joke where, hey, like, would you sell me this house for $1? Obviously, no one's going to sell their house for $1. But the thing is, he has to counter me now. If not, I'm going to buy this property. I will literally write a $1 on the contract and buy it if he's okay with it, right? Here's the thing. No one's going to do that. So he's going to be like, no, not that price. Well, what price? Oh, I'm not $1. I'm like, $2, $3. And it's like volume. They get so sick of it. They're like $40,000. And boom, you get a price from there. And then you negotiate there, get the lowest they can get. And boom, you lock it up. Now, there's the serious lowball offer, right? And this can hurt you sometimes because you never know what the seller's true price is. And that's why I like the $1. I like them saying the price first. Because we've had this. The worst thing happens is you say, would you take 50? And they're willing to take 40. And they're like, 50, of course. And they shake their hand. You're like, oh, shoot, right? I could have got this a lot lower. And if you did those two methods, you could have done better. And there's always a low ball where the seller gets super offended and they could technically kick you out. So we're not the biggest fan of that. And the problem is these sellers have to be logical when you're giving them a low ball offer. And this is why we like the good cop, bad cop, right? And the good cop, bad cop is a low ball offer, except it's sort of a trial close, right? So if we're talking the same property and the seller would sell it for 40, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, maybe Zillow's at 80, 90 on it. And I go talk to him and I say, hey, you know, I was talking to my partner, Rick, and he was looking at the house and he always like to buy the property super cheap, right? You know, he's cheap, right? Like, you're just trying to be on their side. You're the good cop. You're the angel. And then your partner's the terrible person who is conveniently not there, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, if you're talking to a seller, make me the bad cop. Make Rick the bad cop. It doesn't matter. We don't care. We can take the heat. It just makes you in a good light. Talking to Rick, you know, he's always cheap about buying properties and just trying to be on their good side. He was telling me, he's looking at this, he's like, we got to buy this property for like $25,000. And you see how I didn't offer? I just said Rick was thinking of buying it for 25.
Yeah.
You sort of see their reaction on it, you know, and
that kind of allows you to pivot. So one or two ways they might to go, okay, well, we're close, you know, we can work on it, which is usually not the case. Or they're like, are you absolutely nuts? Is your partner crazy? And
get out of my house.
And that's where you just kind of go, I didn't think so. That's why I'm here. That's why I talk to the seller and say, listen, I get it. I kind of threw a number out there. Like, realistically, where do you need to be? So I know Rick's crazy. I'm on your side. I want to make this work, but we got to create a situation that works for both of us. Yeah. And it gets you progress down those channels. Guys, you have to have levers to get numbers out of people. Not everybody just spits a number out, you negotiate. This stuff's never talked about. And you got to give them their pride and their dignity while doing this. By doing that kind of a scrunchy face reserve, he's the nice guy, I'm the bad guy. And then even if the client, the seller blows up, he comes in to save the day and rescue the deal there.
And you get to use logic. So if the seller in this situation, the lowest they do is 40, and they're like, no, I got to be at 40. Here's the cool part. You're using logic. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, Rick's at 25. Let's think about this. Let's think of a win-win. Why don't we just meet in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because guess what? If Rick was at 30 and he was at 40, then you meet at the middle there. The cool part is if your spectrum of lowball is way insane and his price is okay, you still tilt the price low enough where it's still lower than what you have done no matter what versus if they went crazy high. And that's sort of a tip on meeting in the middle. If one person's insane demands and someone has reasonable demands, if you meet in the middle there, it's going to be still closer to the insane demand than the regular demand. So you're going to do a lot better.
And guys, keep in mind, meeting in the middle, when you're talking wholesale numbers, it works. So yeah. I know there's a lot of literature and books out there about how you should never split the difference. That's fine for retail. You go out to dinner, stuff like that. But we're talking wholesale numbers. Meeting in the middle works 9 times out of 10. And remember, when you're doing this, the goal is you're looking for a reaction from your seller. That information, which a lot of it's nonverbal and verbal, is the information you need to finally get to the number that's going to create a win-win solution. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. It's the information you're missing to put the best cash deal together.
That's it. I mean, seriously, think about like negotiating a salary, right? We're not employees, but think about negotiating a salary, right? Like if you're my boss, right? And we're thinking, and you're like, you know, the best we can offer you is 100,000. And I say, well, I think you should offer me 5 million. Well, let's meet in the middle. Guess who's going to win? I'm going to win because it's so insane. Think about the other spectrum. If my cash offer is so low and meet in the middle, I still have the advantage there. So just think about that. The truth is, guys, you should always get a no on your offer. Even if they gave the offer price first and you give a counter offer, you have to get a no.
Go for no.
Go for no because it's always going to give you the best price possible. And guess what? When you get a no, it can always go up. You can't go down, right?
Exactly.
And That's the point here. Go for no, guys. Your cash offer is going to be very important in the script you do, but it's how you present it, which is probably going to be the most important. So if I go talk to you, say, you know, I was talking to Rick, and he like told me he wanted to buy it for like $25,000. It's going to be terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I talk with confidence and conviction, right? Hey, I was talking to Rick, you know, he's looking at this property and he was close to like 25,000 on this. Do you see the difference between like, there's no ums or buts or filler words. There is conviction. There is confidence. There's authority in my voice. If you have that, it's going to go way further. It's your tonality and your confidence. And if you can build rapport, it's going to go way smoother and it just makes it way better, right?
I agree 100%.
Like we've said before, you don't want to say the I word investor. You want to say the word cash buyer or buyer. You and your partner are buying this property for cash. So of course you're going to do that. And don't say the C word, which is contract. Say the word paperwork. Again, we kind of went over this, but just FYI, guys, don't present yourself as an investor, a hedge fund. You know, I got to talk to my financing company.
Mm-hmm.
I know guys say that and they do that in courses. That's great. We like the small connecting. Hey, I'm just an average Joe like you. That always gives you the best results.
Make it personal.
Here's another one. I don't know why we have to say this, but I've talked to a lot of wholesalers on our one-on-one calls, and unfortunately I have to bring this up. Don't lie to your seller. This is the craziest thing I think that I have found.
Uh-huh.
Have morals and ethics when you talk to people. I just don't understand how people can lie to a seller. If you're doing virtual wholesaling and you're virtually wholesaling, let's say you live in Florida and you're wholesaling a house in North Carolina, and someone asks, hey, are you from Florida? Yes, I am. I see people lie all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be doing this. Just completely tell the truth. You're going to be more confident when you tell the truth and just own up to it. Hey, you sound young. Yes, I'm 18 years old. If me and my partner have the funds to buy the property cash, is that going to affect it? Confidence and authority is going to help you out so much.
Correct. If you get caught in a lie, it will unwind everything you've worked up to that point. And if you're going to be in this business for the long run, you got to tell the truth. Every scam artist is a one and done, maybe a couple years, but the minute the market shifts or changes, they can't keep their lies straight. Guys, like the old saying is, it's so much easier to tell the truth because you don't have to keep track of your lies. And the truth is the truth, and it's going to make you a better person for it.
And that's it. And the last part, guys, is before you walk in the appointment, after you get the contract signed, always explain the process to the seller. This eliminates the fear, the anxiety of what's going to happen during the transaction. You might not feel anxiety during this whole process, but a lot of sellers do. And you should understand and be in their shoes too.
It just simply explaining. So like simple things like how much time you're going to spend with them. There's no guarantee, but like they get anxiety about it. And then that's a perfect place to bring up like your upfront agreement.
Yeah.
And you can discuss it. Instead of making it a script, you make it a conversation. The more you explain the expectations, the better your end result's going to be.
That is exactly what to tell to your sellers. This is basically a 4-day guru boot camp. You give me $5,000. We go on a yacht. We do all the fun jazz, right? We get the cool music video, the rap going, the gold chains, the watches. Guys, we just condensed all that into the real stuff you need to know. Absolutely for free. We saved you $5,000. So if you do us a big favor and just smash that like button and subscribe, go to freewholesaling.com. All of our stuff's out there. Our live calls, live recorded calls, and me doing all these offers. Rick goes over everything, exactly what you need to know about giving cash offers to your sellers. And also a quick bonus tip on freewholesaling.com. If you want to give cash offers to real estate agents, do on-market properties, it's also there on freewholesaling.com. So guys, freewholesaling.com, that's where everything you need to be. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much. This is Zach signing out.
Rick signing out.
Have a blessed one, guys. See you soon.
See you guys.